So thank you, Abhi. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gautam Chawla. I'm an associate director at Synergy Consulting. And Synergy Consulting is a financial advisory firm. We provide end-to-end financial advisory services both to the private players and public utilities as well. And we have experience of working across 33 countries in Africa as of today. While we are very sure about what India has highlighted in the pain points that the local or the private developers face when there is a currency mismatch and how they are using their funding and how they are getting paid, we would also like to highlight and discuss the pain points that the public utilities or the government companies have been facing when they provide tariff payments or they agree on tariff payments which is in USD or Euro or hard currency, which is not a local currency. So just taking a perspective of the public utilities, if the tariff structure is agreed in USD and they also agree to make the USD available for the project company or the or for the IPP, then it is a huge risk of USD availability that the countries or the host country is facing to make the USD available. There is a lot of shortage of USD or Euro in the African continent, African countries that we have seen. Second risk, what we also see is the tariff escalation. Since the end user tariff is usually in the local currency, with the currency devaluation or the currency depreciation, what we see is the tariff is not cost effective for the utility. And then they have to really revise the tariff for the end users, which sometimes comes with a public backlash. Then the USD denominated tariffs also put in a fiscal and a budgetary strain for the lot of governments and to make the project more attractive, sometimes what public utilities do, they also provide a sovereign guarantee to make the USD payments, which additionally adds, say, these guarantees are basically very risky liabilities which are on the government books and sometimes may end up being called for distress in their debt or overall fiscal policy of the country. So while we always agree that the tariff needs to be in something where it could gain the financing or attract the private participation, but we also have to be very careful how public utilities or the governments have to take care of this because their revenue is always in the local currency.
Yeah, thank you. So I hope this helps set the scene for what will follow in the next hour or so, where there's a bit of understanding of why it's important, why contracts are usually structured in hard currency. You probably now have an understanding of why the local currency element comes to play. You have a long horizon, you have costs, you have an objective where everybody here is looking to achieve the lowest possible tariff because we want to have projects closed, we want to see development impact, and we're all still end users of power. Nobody wants to pay more than they should if a lower cost is possible.
Thank you, Vic. So while I completely echo with entry around the FX risk, it's something we need to all understand as there is risk. It's either passed to the off-taker or it's with the developer. What we need to understand is like anything what we need to look for more of an inclusive approach, which might be where both the parties, counterparty, the off-taking entity and the developer entity have benefits out of it. While the products such as the currency swaps and the others are good to have instruments, but definitely they come at a cost, and the cost is borne then by the country or the host country of the project. What we have seen across different geographies is more of a hybrid approach that we have also come across, where certain portion of the tariff, like say 60 or 70% portion of the tariff is in a local currency, and the remaining 30 or 40% of the tariff is in, say, the hard currency. In local currency, but indexed with the hard currency to make it whole if there is a currency devaluation. How this helps is this is in this approach. What is required is that we also need to have a market where we can raise at least the local currency financing. And we have seen, as Andrea also mentioned, TCX in certain cases have been helpful. The currency exchange fund to mobilize or support this local currency financing within the country. And what happens with this is like the government is paying us 60 or 70% in local currency, and a local currency tranche is getting paid with that particular tariff with a long-term tenor. with the help of GT stakes that it has been mobilized, while the remaining 30 or 40%, if an investor is coming from foreign country or foreign investors, equity that they have injected, their equity is also safeguarded, or the shareholder returns are still maintained with that kind of a 40% tariff or 30 or 40% tariff what we have seen in a currency, in a local currency, but indexed to the hard currency. So these kind of hybrid solutions sometimes do come in handy. They do not present an additional burden to the off-taker by not increasing the tariff, or there is no additional burden in terms of maintaining the foreign currency on their balance sheet. And at the same time, it is helpful for the developers as well, because significant portion is mitigated because of the local commercial tranche or the local debt tranche that is there on the project.
Sure, thank you. So just to remind everyone in the room, we do hope the rest of the session can be quite interactive. We will open the floor especially for questions and any feedback or comments you may have.
Thank you. So it's a pretty easy question. We have been trying to provide solutions around that as well, but at the same time, what we need to understand is many times the equipments that are available in the local market are not that competitive, or the price are comparatively higher. For a similar equipment which we can import it from a different country, maybe from China, maybe from Europe, if it's coming, the cost is much lower. And what the utility at the end of the day also wants is that they want a tariff which is competitive and works for them, and they are getting a power at a post reasonable rate. So if we have to do that, and someone is bringing in a equipment from a different country and they're able to place the currency swaps, still it's cost them less, then it also. But if the markets are more developed and the equipments that are needed can be procured locally, then it's one of the best solutions where you would not be exposed to say the EPC price change or the hard currency EPC that we are importing.
Thank you so much. I can if I come to you as Andre, from your perspective on the point to the
projects. And now I'm aware that there are challenges that are coming. These are challenges, there's exciting.
Anything you want to add as we close out the session?
Thank you. So this currency risk is very critical risk in any infrastructure project, and we don't think it's going away in the next like 5, 10 years or 15 years. We all have to work on an evolving solution. We have to work towards mitigating it together. In what we always advise is the risk is to be given to a party which is best suited to handle it. But in this case, like neither the developers are best suited, neither the off-taker is best suited. So it's to be a critical risk that all need to carry. While local currency tariffs definitely provide great macro stability to the host country or the project country, but it does not attract foreign investments from the international investment. They are not competitive, their bankability is an issue. We all have to, there are repatriation risk, convertibility risk as we are hearing it out. Similarly, when there are foreign currency tariffs which are very attractive to the investors, but they definitely bring in a burden to the public utilities and add financial burdens to these. So we have to think of how we can basically move to a solution which is a natural hedge to the currency in which the expenditure is being done, in the currencies in which the financing is being raised or the investments are being made. And I always feel that South Africa is a very good example when we look in this continent where there is a deep local financial markets. And the long-term solution can only be related to where the financial institutions of the host countries have long-term financing available to them at a competitive pricing. That's where we would see that the prices of the tariffs would match to the UAEs, the Saudis, or the Dubais of the world.
Sure. Thank you so much. I do hope that throughout this discussion you're able to learn or at least better appreciate some of the efforts you've taken. Just to say thank you so much for being with us throughout this hour and a half, and a round of applause for our panelists. Thank you.